Welcome everybody to today's webinar, and we have a very interesting talk with a very good friend of ours called Kevin Tuei. So today we are going to talk about securing your infrastructure. Yeah, we're using Terraform. So that's the topic of the day. So first of all, I hope all of you are doing great. You can just type on the chat where you are from and how your day is. So I'm going to very fast introduce who Tuei is. Kevin Tuei is a very good friend of ours who supports the CloudForce community. And one of the various things it does is a ALX community ambassador, is an AWS community builder, is an AWS tech skill instructor, and chief CTO of SolarWise, an ODEL coordinator, a data consultant, a campus outreach for ISACA, a CloudForce mentor for us, and is very helpful for the communities. From the various things I've listed, you can see he's a very busy man from Monday to Sunday, and getting him even these few days is very good. So a round of applause for him and claps as he comes into stage.
Thank you so much, Lance. I was just listening to all that, and just a few years ago, I think the only thing I heard was my name. But yeah, sure. Thank you so much for the invite to be back here. It's always a pleasure. It's always like a homecoming, of sorts, if I can say. So since I've already been introduced, it's not really about me. It's about the topic of the day. And as I was thinking about how best should I approach this, and happy to see amazing people here on the call, familiar names. Happy to also meet new people, because at the end of it all, you also can say a change is as good as a rest. I think I'm tired of meeting Levis every time. Anyways, so you're talking today. You're talking about securing what? We're going to be securing our AWS infrastructure with Terraform. So this was part of what was our challenge. And trust me, because it doesn't make sense to talk about a challenge and start putting up slides. So I'll be going through to the meat of the matter and share with you the GitHub repo that we were using. We just have a million tabs, so I'll have to get the right one. So let's see. I'll share with you this. Let me first of all hide my bookmarks and let so that you don't have to see that. And then I'll just share my screen. And I also bring that up for you for your personal consumption. So this challenge was inspired from what one of our members, McCrane, had developed. That is a three-tier web application using Terraform. So we felt like, okay, we've done the application, we've done it and it works. It's a Dockerized application. Everything is running well. But what if someone comes into play? Okay, let's see. I have a million tabs, but I love to deal with life that way. And we can do a window. I think doing a window will make my life easier. But if I switch, you let me know if I'm not sharing again. Levis will let me know, or maybe let me make my life easier. How will I do it? Okay, let me share my second screen entirely. This should be screen what? Screen one. Okay, just confirm for me that you can see my screen is coming up. I think should be there.
Yes, yes. You can see a screen. You are on GitHub right now.
Yes, definitely. I'll not be doing any slides, so we'll go be directly to the matter. So this is the challenge that we had, the just concluded challenge. So the challenge was about deploying a secure AWS infrastructure with Terraform. And basically, we are trying to do all that we could using the free tier, as you can see here. With a security focus, a cloud security focus, can we leverage IAM? In some cases, can we encrypt data in transit and at rest? Can we even use config, but in case you need it, to just automate how we do configurations and also detect whether a new intern at the organization decides to put overly permissive security groups, rules, inbound rules and such. Can we be able to do that and let that be sorted automatically? Then CloudTrail, I can't say there's one day, let me just zoom this a bit. There's one day I had the shock of my life. My AWS account, I did things. I can say I was green. And as I was doing my cloud developer nano degree project, first of all, I was doing it from my root user. Sorry me, green me. And then the worst thing is I'd only created an access key and a secret key with administrative permission, had coded it onto my code, and then bam, the moment I did git push, all hell broke loose. I created one of the largest instances AWS has ever seen in over 9 regions. And then so what happened is AWS, you have to go to support and start begging. The beauty is I had a community builder credits. So by the time I was trying to contain the situation, I'd already lost like around $400 worth of those credits. And what happened is it was a back and forth for like 3, 4, 5 months of AWS support. We have not paid for premium support to be supported in every minute. So what I did is I tried to make sure, first of all, to convince them that I was not the one who was doing that. This is what I was doing. I was doing a project and all these different things. And then they told me something. They told me, had you enabled CloudTrail? Can you share with us a trail of what happened? Can we be able to audit your infrastructure, your account, and see what happened? Where were these instances being launched from? And that is when I realized in every AWS account I've ever had ever since, CloudTrail, even if it costs me what, I better have it because I could not explain. Yes, I was explaining in an email subject, but they needed trails to look at what is happening, and I had not enabled it. So I was forgiven, but always once bitten, twice shy. I finally got my credits back. I always looked at those credits, and it was written AWS compromise, AWS compromised account, what credits or something. It was the weirdest kind of credits to get. So every time I looked at it, it was just a way of telling me, foolish Kevin, and that is when I decided to become very serious about security, and even made it my forte in terms of cloud. Obviously, you can do an architectural diagram. You're going to see something that I created, but as Leis said, I didn't have enough time. Actually, I didn't have enough time for me to create an end-to-end diagram. So you're going to see how you're going to make it better. Then again, Terraform is our tool. We're going to do very little on the AWS management console apart from confirming, of which actually I've not even logged in. So we are going to even do our best to confirm from the CLI. Yes, so these are some of the things. You're going to be having these resources. You're going to see what is happening here in terms of. I'm going to doing for these purposes. You're going to see how we can. You already know an S3 bucket. There's usually this name. I don't know if I can find it. Yeah, you can't look for it right now. Let me see if I can look at it from this screen. Look, S3 Let me just get it. Let me see if I can find it. It was an interesting one. Okay. No, no, it was coming. Let's see. Okay, it's far away, but it was about someone moving around and they're looking at unprotected S3 buckets all over the place. And in the whole of the world, if you want to get people's data, just look for an S3 bucket. People don't secure their S3 buckets most of the time. But yeah, so I said that I couldn't look for it and see where it is. But remember, the other earlier 2024 has been a crazy year for AWS when someone could have done a distributed like denial of service attack or something, then you can get a proper good bill from AWS for it to give back for 3 forbidden responses for non-existent files, but they sorted that out. Then security groups are going to see CloudTrail whether you can do that. They're going to do it in a very interesting way. Then obviously least privilege, where you just give enough what? Enough capabilities for a user for them to do their job, no more, no less. You have a starter, you're going to have a repo at the end of it all. If you can do a blog post, and this is also what was required, security pillar. And if possible, if you could have been able to leverage CloudFront and have some geo restriction, maybe allow only people from Kenya or from particular countries to access your application, that could have been the bonus challenge. So I'll bring my Lucid. Let me see if I have it here. Where was it? Is it in my 1,000 tabs on this side? Nope. Is it on the 1,000 tabs on this other side? Okay. Go to recent. Yeah, let me see if I can find this. If I closed it. So it's coming up. Let's bring it somewhere. It doesn't want to appear by itself. So let's just maximize it here. So, okay, it's definitely not that one. It was the second page. So let me also open this screen so that I can see what you're seeing. So definitely any person who is serious about life has to start from the architecture, right? You don't start with the code itself and do things. And today, from now, we're going to make it a bit interactive and get to know. I purposely left out some resources here for us to be able to have a small discussion. And as you can see, maybe somewhere, somehow, those resources play a part in terms of security, right? So let's start from maybe, well, let's start from the outside coming in. Although we usually start from the inside going out for the architecture, I'd like you to let me know. Let me just see if I can Can I close this? Do I need my shapes? Nope. Do I need templates? Nope, I don't want templates. Okay, let's just survive with it. We just put it that way. Okay, let's start with the first. There's some resources that are not on this architecture, and they play a huge part in terms of security. Who can tell us one? If you can put it in the chat and tell us what does it play in terms of the role, I'd be happy to know so that we can be able to move also to the Terraform code. Okay, let's start simple. A fantasy is already on, and don't put the ones that we shared in the screen. Let's start simple. I understand of the 40 of us here, together with Eddie's not AI not taker. There are some people who are very green in the industry. So just let's make it simple. So I can see most of you are saying security groups. Definitely. I have not put some security groups. So let's see if I can get some. And where should I put them? So there's some, let's see, let's make this bigger. That is becoming microscopic. It doesn't make sense. Why did I make it small? Okay, finally, security groups. Security group. Let's get the one for, let's get this one. So I can do this. Can put them, and obviously they apply. So someone can tell us, where does security group apply? Do they apply at the network? Do they apply? Where should I put it? I'm already doing the thing that I should not even do. But I believe some of you can tell me that I need to put it here, right? I need to put it so that it covers these EC2 instances. And then I can just get another security group, then put them here, put it here somewhere. And I think we need another security group for the RDS. So I think we're done with that one. What was the other resource that you put? Yeah, thank you so much, Million. Yes, these are the instance level. That is why you can see it's in the RDS instance. It's also on the EC. Why did I do EC at? What was I doing here? Maybe I was just trying to catch up with time. Okay, what is the other resource that I can put? And let's not overthink it. I'm just playing simple. There's something else that is missing on this architecture. And they're very simple things. Level 100 stuff. So Gabriel is asking a very good question. Why should security groups be around private instances? Simply because is when you're going to be looking at the code, and you can look at that also when you're deploying, is we would want inbound rules from maybe, let's say, instances in the web tier to communicate with instances in the application tier. And since we cannot reference instances directly, we're going to reference the security group, right? I think that is in a nutshell. But if there's also another version of the answer, please, anyone can also put it in the chat. We also need it, and we also need to secure those resources from internal access by other resources and such. You get to make sure, yes, exactly. Also list privilege. Also make sure that only the right accepted services can access. If you're going to only allow 443 or 80 for HTTP and HTTPS, and maybe 3306 for DBs, that is the only thing that are going to allow. Someone says a knuckle, okay. Knuckle, where should we put? So let's see. You have to write it in full. Let's see. Do you have an AWS version of it? So where will that apply? It will apply at the network level, right? So maybe I will put it at the subnet level. So I can just do this. And I can maybe add a knuckle here. Should I do a knuckle for... I don't know if I should do one on this other end. Should be at the subnet level, right? Or at the network level. Why is it going outside there? Da-da-da. Okay. What else can we add? Just for us to get to see how we can work on this and see whether we're going to add and see what is on our current Terraform code and see whether they have all these things and whether they are configured correctly. I'm seeing NLB. Yeah, okay, let's make life easier, Hezron, and just say application load balancers. Yes, and why do we need application load balancers? What do application load balancers have for security? I know it helps in terms of, okay, ensuring that the user has a better experience in terms of distributing traffic so that there's a use or something. Yes, maybe we might use WAF, but we're going to see. So which one do I use? I don't usually use the, do I use this? No, that one is the older one. Let's use this one. Where did it go to? Okay, it's here. So I think we need a load balancer, a private one, and another one for the public, right? Don't worry, I'm going to put the connection. So it should go to, they should go to the to those instances. So I can just do that. Da-da-da. And let's go to those. Am I at the right? It makes sense. Let's that and that. Okay. I think it should be two-sided or something. What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? Okay, does it make sense? Okay, that's worked now. Okay, this gets boring, but I have to do it. Okay, that's done. What else? Let's go back. Anything else that is missing? There's something that I wish you guys had put. Okay, we can put the SGs. Let me just do something here. Let me go. This one has to go to this SG. Then it has to be that way. Okay. I think I also need to put the connection of the NAT gateway, or the NAT instance. The NAT instance. Okay, I prefer NAT instances over NAT gateways, and you already know why. We don't have to have that debate. And then that one can also have as access, so we can have that coming to the security group, right? And definitely has to have that. Then the Bastion host, right? The Bastion host gives us access to the instances in this. Okay, what am I doing? Gives us access to instances in the security group, right? Okay, should I go deeper? This part makes sense. Then definitely it's a two. Okay, going directly, so it's okay. What else should I have missed? So we put the security group. We can say this one is the security group for the web server, the app server. I don't have to name them. I'm not giving this to a developer after this. So you'll allow me not to do all the annotations and the decorations and such. One more thing that is missing, my people. Okay,
Kevin.
someone, yes, I'm seeing some chat. Okay, let me see what is, yes, Lewis. I was not seeing the chat.
Okay, there are two questions.
Okay.
Christine asked why not that instance instead of the gateway, and then Tindu is asking the bastion host.
Okay. So first of all, obviously you already know NAT gateway is crazy. So let's say NAT gateway pricing, AWS pricing. So the issue is really around pricing, right? And how it was. So you can see if I say compare NAT gateway and NAT instances in terms of the obviously the AWS documentation. So this one is just that it can scale up, it can do what, charge depending on the number of NAT gateways, charge the number of NAT instances and the instance type. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they'll tell you to use a NAT gateway, but I can tell you that the pricing is crazy for a NAT gateway. It's quite crazy. So you can see that is also about 0.045 USD per hour. So it's quite crazy in terms of NAT gateway. So if you're doing something, especially for learning purposes, you're better off doing a NAT instance, because you know what NAT is doing. Network address translation is making sure that the instances that do not have a public IP can still access resources that are over the internet through the NAT gateway or the NAT instance. So, and also it has a cost for per gigabytes that it processes. So that is why I would obviously choose a NAT instance of a NAT gateway, especially if you're starting out in terms of learning. And what else? What was the other question? The other question was Bastion Host. So Bastion Host is helping me because these instances are not accessible over the internet. They're only accessible within the VPC. Then this Bastion host that would be hardened and can only have access to this, like there's a security group that allows, and you can see that is where you can see it is connected to a security group. So it'll allow us to maybe troubleshoot or even access some of the different configurations that are there for these EC2 instances that are in the application tier, which is in the private subnet, even the database tier that is also in another private subnet. So that is what the Bastion host is doing. But I know AWS has continually tried its best to ensure that we can access EC2 instances in a better way through, I think, EC2 instance endpoints. I've forgotten the exact name. Can access that, but then again, at some point you might need some Bastion host of sorts if you really need it for this particular architecture. But if you don't need it, then that is a particular cost on AWS that you'd be free to not have, because that's another extra instance. Yes, so that is what you're having there for Bastion. Someone was asking,
So,
yes. Yes.
Yeah, it was when like I asked the question.
Yes.
So like the Bastion host like allows you like to communicate to the instances hosted in the private subnet.
Exactly. So because for yourself, you can SSH from your laptop or wherever you are on the internet to the Bastion host. And then from the Bastion host, you can now start accessing the EC2 instances. Because if you try to access these EC2 instances in the private subnet directly from your laptop, impossible, right?
What if like you create like a security group for the application load balance, and then you only allow access, like you only allow communication between the instances and the application load balancer?
Between the instances and the what?
Application load balancer for the application tier.
So the application load balancer, you'll access, will you be able to access the instances, because the load balancer is not going to SSH you into the EC2 instance. The load balancer will maybe have, for the health checks that you give, or maybe if you're giving it HTTP or HTTPS or whatever you're giving it, it's meant for access to what? To the application by the web, but also we want our best to make sure that the traffic is being distributed, and also there's some form of security, because there are some aspects around maybe DDoS that is set up in an application load balancer. It is a highly available, it is a managed AWS service, those kind of things that you want to just not deal with, right? Setting up load balancing inside the EC2 instances. But then again, I don't think you can use it for troubleshooting, but I stand corrected. I don't think you can use it to, okay, you can do some health checks, which is a form of troubleshooting, but you cannot go deep and look at what are the crons that are going on, what is in the user data. Can you access the log files of whatever is inside the EC2 instances and such? That's pretty much what I'm trying to communicate here in terms of the Bastion, right? And why I would want to have a Bastion that can access any of this, because for that you'll also want to reduce in the issue of, you've said about security groups and giving it access, but the moment you give a security group some access to the internet, 0.0.0/0 to 2020 to port 22, that is basically it. There's nothing you have done in terms of security, right?
What if like you utilize the web tier IP to give it access, like you specify the specific IP from the EC2? Because I'm thinking I've never I'm kind of new in this field, so I've never like used the Bastion hosts.
So remember that this EC2 instance, let me just zoom in a bit. So this EC2 instance is inside this security group, right?
Yes.
So it can only communicate with the inbound rules that are allowed. For you to say that you're going to use the public IP, whatever IP it has, it is still bound to the security group rules. And what you are doing at all costs is trying to avoid an inbound rule that has port 22 to 0.0.0/0, right, over to the internet, or to our IP that changes dynamically the moment we switch Wi-Fi's or switch to our hotspots and such, right? So the beauty is the Bastion host will have a security inbound rule that will allow each access, because actually I should have put a security group here by itself and say that it's going to allow security. It is going to allow that security group of the Bastion host to access the other tiers, the lower tiers, that is the application with the database. So I could have done this. Don't know, it has gone to. Here it is. I can put it here. And I can zoom in and can have that there. So what? Okay, sorry. What is happening here? Stop. Kind of thing, but I'm not doing the decorations right now. So that is what is going to happen, and you can see it's going to access this particular security group and such. But the technicalities around it, I have to go back to Terraform. I wasn't intending to us having an architectural discussion, but it's okay. It's understandable. And for the interest of time, because I don't want us to go over time on this, you'll allow me to tell you some of the things. I know I can see you can use you can use Lucidchart, you can use Draw.io, whichever works for you. I usually use both depending on how I feel, how I wake up, and where the resources, where my templates are. Yes, so IGW, yes. Christine, you're correct. We need a VPC and IGW. So let me put the VPC and the internet gateway. I need a VPC, whatever. VPC, okay. Group icons. The cloud, public pages. Okay, why did I decide to do that thing? I always hate it when it does that. Let me just get it somewhere else. Then I can do that. Please don't do that thing on me when you start disappearing. Okay, I'm going to just make sure you do whatever you want to do. Take this guy back and take this guy back. I'm going to zoom out. This thing can decide to okay, with that I can survive. Then I can come back here. Let's have our VPC. There's something else. There's a region, right? Regions are very important. And what does regions play in terms of security? Red is residency, right? Data residency. And also we are trying to make sure that data doesn't have to cross the Atlantic, reduce the amount of movement, intercontinental movement, if I can so to speak. So we'll need the region. There it is. So I'll have it there. What else? Okay. Internet gateway. Those are some of the things I wanted you to look at, because sometimes we overthink security, but security is really a culmination of looking security being job zero, right? So that means that you think first about these things. What do they play and where do they play in such? So zooming into that. Then it'll allow me not to do the what? All these icons and such. You already know that the internet gateway will obviously communicate in a two-way manner to the load balancer. Something like that, something of that sort. I'll share this and you can continue improving on it if you want to. So I want us to transfer and move to code. Oh no, cannot edit. Can view, maybe they can copy. Okay. We copy link. Let me give you that. Now that it has come through, you can use that and continue on it. So let us go back to our code. So sorry about the background. Let's move on. So I'll definitely clone this. I think you've already seen it. So I have it, but I'd already run it. I'd already cloned it. So I will open my VS Code. Okay. Let me just start directly. I will not open whatever was there down there. So this is just the, but I would need to, so here it is. So the first thing that I was doing, let me just zoom in a bit and show you something here. Okay, that's too big. So the first thing that I did as I was planning out for this session, I felt like when it comes to Terraform, it's very important to have, okay, I don't want to use Q right now. And it's very important to have a dev environment and a prod environment. Like, okay, even your dev environment can be a disaster recovery region, right? Or whatever you can look at it. It can help when maybe in rare cases, a whole AWS region has gone down. But then again, I would need to look at where I would look at. Maybe I would need to change my provider and make sure that I put the region. But for now, I'll just do the dev. So I think I'm into dev. Let me just go into that. And the first thing I'll do obviously is, what do you do first when you do Terraform? I usually do Terraform FMT just to, okay, because you already know maybe if something is, let me just make sure I mess up the indentation, maybe of this file backend. And also let me mess up the indentation of instance SSG if I do a Terraform format. Okay, let me save that, let me save whatever I was doing. If I do that, if I do a Terraform format, it's going to sort those two files. You can see it has sorted the two files that I just messed up. So that is what I usually do first, just to make sure that it's readable, it's good. And then after we do a format, then if you have not instantiated, I did this so that I have my Terraform providers, like AWS provider ready. So you do a Terraform validate, right? Just to see whether your code makes sense, if there's anything that doesn't make sense. And then again, I'll definitely mess up something so that we see that it does the validation for real. Definitely this is the Terraform code. You can see it's saying configuration is valid. But let me just mess up something here. This backend LB and call it subnet. You can see it is even telling me that there's an issue. If I do a Terraform validate, it will tell me that this backend LB load balancer, the Terraform file is not working at all. Then I'll move because I want us to look at this. There are some things that you've already mentioned. You can see subdate is not expected. So definitely I'll sort that out and then clear that, do a Terraform validate again, and I'm sure it's going to work. So we've mentioned some couple of things, mostly security groups. We've mentioned, someone mentioned about, yes, you can see TF validate also works. I don't know why I feel good when I write the full Terraform instead of TF, but it's okay. Yeah, so thank you so much, JR. And yeah, so let's move to the nerve of the matter, which is security. And as you can see, if I put this away a bit, and I see, could have looked at security groups, CloudTrail, IAM policies, and such. So as you can see here, and I'm going to give a shout out to one of us who was able to do this challenge. I was reviewing what they were doing. Let me just show you. So let's look at what McCrane had created, and we want to make it better. So you can look at the instances security group, and here it is. We just close the terminal first for now. What can you notice about this, especially from line 27 going to 33? There's something wrong, right? Principle of least privilege is not working somewhere, somehow, right? Who can tell us? Let me see if you can see in the chat or something. You can see there's something that is not good in terms of these security groups, in terms of how the inbound roles work out. Who can tell us, especially from here? I'm waiting.
Is it because the CEDA block is for everywhere? It's public, like.
Exactly. That is an issue when I look at that. Maybe the other thing that I would want to look at is if we have an S3 bucket of sorts, if there's any, because that is another area that is usually a big issue. Let me see, front end. That this is just an auto-scaling group. No big issue. Load balancer, we are still using HTTP, but you can see the load balancer is not fronted by a CloudFront distribution. And why do we need CloudFront? CloudFront helps because it has some shield on distributed denial of service attacks. You're better off having people access your application through a CloudFront distribution compared to them accessing it directly through the load balancer, if I can say. Then again, also you need to front, if you're using maybe some static sites, front, or maybe if you want people to access resources from an S3 bucket, you're better off having them access through a CloudFront distribution and protecting the origin, which is the S3 bucket, from direct access from the internet on through to the internet. That is where policies would happen. I think those are some of the things that we didn't mention. We also needed in the architecture an IAM role, right, and such. So I think I will go directly to making sure that you can see. So we have one of us who did an amazing job, and that is one I said I will do that. So you can see, I think only 3 of us forked this, and I think after this, most of you are going to try it out and see what you can do. So when I checked my forks, okay, I don't want to fork it right now. Just get out of, sorry. When I go to the forks, I saw one of us, I don't know whether he's on the call, with the username Beliski, did an amazing job here. I'm going to just see whether it's going to work. So you can see it has a CloudTrail.tf file. It has a CloudFront, which we need. Let's see whether he changed something on the instances security group. Yes, so you can see something about but still is 22 is still accessing everywhere. So that one is something that he might have missed. But I can see the port 443, the security group, the CIDR block. So the CIDR block should there be a CIDR block? Okay, the security group is the front end LB. This is front end instance SG, but the CIDR block should not be all. But let's see what he did in terms of, is there anything that is security group for the backend? Still has the 0. So this on the security group level didn't do much, but it's okay. Let's move to the CloudFront. Let's see what he came up with in terms of instantiating a CloudFront distribution. So this front end, because maybe it makes sense because HTTPS would have needed him to get a domain. So HTTP only, 80 and 443, TLS, and then origin is front-end web. So let's see, let me just, as we understand this, let me just clone this repo. So let's clone this repo very fast. File, a new window, and you're going to see how we're going to work out on this and see whether there's security ingrained onto it. File, new window. Clone git. It's coming on this end, but it's coming out big and it makes my life harder. So just bring it here. So don't worry, I'm not that nerd who does things all typing. So if I can do this. So hope it's coming up. So that comes up. Let's see what we would have done better in terms of. So something that is very important for you guys to remember is principle of least privilege. You can make your life easier if you look at that and say, wow, I'm allowing this person to do a lot. Can I leverage roles? Can I leverage temporary credentials? Can I leverage maybe even aspects of IAM Identity Center? Those are some of the things that you need to look out for and say, yes, so that is how I could have done it. Yes, so as also if there's something coming up on chat, let me know because I'm not there yet.
Okay.
Sure. So let me just look at this. Let me get a new folder and call it Beliski. I don't know if Beliski is on the call. I didn't have time to validate. Still validating live. So let's see. Okay, what am I doing? I think I'm just cloned. Okay, let's just do the normal way. Let me do the Mazinga thing of doing things on the desktop because it's easier for me to look at it and delete it from there. Then call it maybe CFS, TF. Select that folder. It's coming up because I'm not using one of my best devices, so I don't want to use Q right now. Okay, so we have it. So let's see what you're having here. Let's see whether it's going to come out clean. I love the way you also did a very good documentation, which you're going to see. So let me just do a Terraform FMT if needed. Okay, oh, we had a lot to format. Okay, so that has been done, hopefully. And then TF validate just to make someone happy, just someone just joking. We need to close this. Okay. Yes, John, that was something about, yes. Okay, I didn't do my setup of TF, so don't worry about that. Okay, do I need to init? I'm not going to do that, guys. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something crazy here. It's just me doing things that is not best practice, but I have to do it. Terraform what it did. Terraform init. So it's going to find it. Hope it's not going to look for that AWS. Yeah, so good. I love it when it says using previous version of AWS so that I don't have to download it again and again. Okay, let it do that. Then we see, we do a validate again, then we're good to go. Just to confirm that we're going to not deploy things that are not sorted out. But as that comes up, let me just put it to the side, let's open Beliski's README. So you can see it did a very good diagram. Talk about now, instead of fronting internet gateway directly using CloudFront for security purposes, I also love the fact that he enabled CloudTrail and he has an S3 bucket for logging so that CloudTrail is sorting out things and setting out in that bucket. Simple kind of a two-tier, which is okay. Still leveraging Macrin's book application. So it's a Dockerized front end and a Dockerized backend. Yes, definitely. And he also mentioned about some of the things that he did. He mentioned about not including access keys. And the moment I read this, it gave me bad memories. It made me remember those bad times that I told you earlier. Security groups, not sure whether the privileged access is there, but we're going to see defense in depth, up to data, logging using CloudTrail. And also, I think he didn't mention about the CloudFront, which is also what he did. But I think that one is the additional, the security, IAM policies. I don't know that he put IAM policies here. He didn't put it in the architecture, but I would have been expecting an IAM.tf if needed be, or maybe inside it. So do we have something? This one is still installing from way back when. I don't know why. But yeah, let's put that aside. And if you can check out, let me just also share with you guys Beliski's what? Christine, no, you should not be intimidated. I can tell you, I started learning Terraform like 4 months ago. So don't be intimidated. Navigating the GitHub. Yeah, there is, and I think you should be able to join the community. Don't be intimidated. This is the most basic that we can be able to do so that we can secure our Terraform. So let's see whether our installation has happened. Okay, what the hell? Did I open several windows? What is this one? This one is Beliski's, no, this one is not Beliski's. Let me just close that out so that I don't mess up my life. I'm being told about weird things about okay, did I need a Terraform? Yeah, I think that's the other thing that maybe Beliski did and should not do. Shouldn't have this one, so just delete this shit. Okay, sorry. Yeah, that one. So let me just clear this again. Yeah, please, sorry, make sure you edit that part. Get back to YouTube. Okay, so make sure, okay, you can see this is what is messed up on that. He did also upload his Terraform log HCL, which is not a good thing. So let's get back to the code. Here we are. When I see a green thing, it makes me happy. It makes me know that I can delete these things when they are out. But which is that required provider that is ending up? So, okay, it moved to recycle bin, but let me just do Terraform init again. Maybe it was that issue. It has installed. Is it installing it from afar? Okay, it's okay. So as it does that, because I need to do the init, let me show you something else that is very important when you're looking at this this diagram. Is you also need to make sure there's something else in okay, you know, there's security at two levels. As you're listening to me, there's security in terms of your Terraform and security in terms of your infra. So we've really focused about a lot of security in terms of your infra, but then again, you need to make sure that you have security in terms of your Terraform configurations and best practices in Terraform. And one of them, which I can show you from one of my repos, let me see if I can show you from one of the repos. Let me go back to this. Let me go back to my over 100 repositories that are forks, so don't judge me. My over, okay, I have over 119. When did I get to 119? Okay, let's go back to this. I pinned it. Okay, this one here, was it this project one? Okay, it was a simple static. Let me just show you security at that level from from the best practices, because it was a simple static site here. The first thing is you must make sure you have a remote backend, right? You don't have your Terraform files because you're working with people and people need to access. You don't want to tell them that it is working on my computer, the state files are in my computer. So I have this folder. You can have a folder where you can initialize your resources separately that are going to be for the remote state. Because what is a state file in Terraform? It's simply a file that is mirroring what is on your AWS environment and tells Terraform, this is what is there, this is what has been deleted, this is what is not has not been deleted, this is what is live there. So one thing that I usually do when I was learning my Terraform, I made a big mistake, is I created the backend resources, and then when I did a Terraform destroy, I also destroyed the bucket. Okay, the DynamoDB table that was holding the lock. You know, a lock file is where it's just going to make sure that no two people are doing what? Are updating the state file, right? It sets a lock, and it was for setting up my locks and updating. So what I was in a limbo. I have to release a lock, then I have to realize I cannot recreate the DB so you have to make sure. That is why I have a separate folder directory for my backend resources, as you can see here. And what it's doing is just creating, as you can see here, is having that provider, and it's having an S3 bucket, which I'm also ensuring that you cannot just delete it by having this tag. I'm also having server-side encryption enabled, and then you can see I'm making sure that all these are enabled, no public access, public policy and such. Then also creating a DynamoDB table for logs. So that is what this folder is doing. We are doing it with a good friend of mine, Alvin, as you are sorting out a certain Terraform challenge. Then you have a TF-vars just to give the name of the bucket and the DynamoDB and the region in which. Okay, I usually prefer sometimes US West 2 because it's less noisy. You already know that. And yeah, so you can see that is what was happening on that. That is one area of security, having a remote state rather than having it locally. The other thing is making sure that you're having environments for development and production. So for this case, I had only one environment for dev, which was happening here. And then also very important to modularize your resources. Have a module for IAM and a module for VPC. That one was not done by Macreen when she was doing her Terraform. So that's something that you can also consider doing as you're setting up. So that is security from the aspect of Terraform, and also making sure, very, very important, there's something about the provider. Let me go to, like, for example, here. I don't know that I'm having something here. TFVAS, no, not TFVAS. Never had code your AWS what? Access key and secret key here. Somewhere, wherever. I don't know, somewhere here. Never do it. Never. I don't know. I can beg you like 1,000 times. Never do that. Because the moment you commit that to GitHub, you'll be in the same WhatsApp group as me a couple of years ago. So that's some of the security measures that you can put in terms of the Terraform side of things. So I'm having this, it has worked. Let's see, I'm already initialized. I'll do a Terraform validate. As I wrap up, I want us to wrap up early enough. Sorry, I've gone over time. So I'll do a validate just to confirm that the configurations are going to work well. And then I'll go to, you can do a plan or I can do an apply auto approve, but just to see whether things are out. So you can see like this, as you can see here, if I'm having this backend on the cloud front, instead of just having it directly as a Terraform file, I can have it in a directory as a module and reference it as a Terraform module. So let's go to Terraform plan just to see what is going to be created. I know we're having a two-tier, a front end and a back end of a Dockerized web application. That is what you're going to be having. I'm also seeing the security resources like CloudTrail and CloudFront here that you're going to be having set up by Terraform. So that is what is happening. The load balancer as part, it was already part of it. Sure, so okay, my security is quite crazy. Okay, so let me allow it to do that. Is there any question that, okay, no questions yet. So it's confirming that I'm going to add 32 resources, that I'm going to get a CloudFront DNS and a front-end DNS. So let's hope, I wish I could have done it. Once I confirm things, I usually don't like saying yes, so I'll do auto approve so that I don't have to type yes. But I think auto approve is longer, but it's better because once it's done, it's sorted because I've looked at all that is required. I'm going to get a VPC, which is very important for security. I'm getting some DNSs. Public subnets are here. I'm also seeing some public subnets that are going to be created. Yeah, so what is coming up here? This looks like an auto-scaling group, if I can see here. Okay, so I think it's being created. Let's scroll down. Let's see, yes, they're being created. And you can see there's a bucket policy, which is very important for security. As you can see here, there's a bucket policy. There's an ACL to restrict ownership controls for security coming up. Hopefully, but I know the CloudFront might take a bit of time. So I can use that as it loads. As you can see as that loads, I can answer questions that you might be having, whether it's related to Terraform or cloud security in general. I'd be happy to answer. I'll be happy to answer your questions as this continues to set up and see. The other thing is we usually say always treat your resources, especially when it comes to Terraform. I usually have this quote and I say, don't be romantic looks too much. Don't be attached to your resources. Always consider them as ephemeral. Think of them as the way you can just destroy them at any point in time. That way, when you're even setting up your Terraform modules and even the different workspaces, you're trying to make sure that they're as loosely coupled to each other as possible. That is what I can be able to say in terms of when you're coming up with these resources. Yes, someone is asking about, yes, the book. Yes, thank you so much, Lace, for sharing. That is the front end that I did. And I think she has also a very good blog on how she explains it step by step. That one is something that I know Christine can really appreciate and can help a lot. Yes, Metin mentioned about internet gateway, busting host firewall. Okay, firewall is crazy, Gabriel. There's one time I was working with a client, works in the health sector, and there is no compromise. You know, when you're working with health and HIPAA, it's not an issue about money. So they needed to have a firewall at the network level. And you know, there are two levels. There's the network firewall, AWS network firewall, and then there's the AWS web application firewall, WAF, that most of us know about, right? And maybe we can have another session where we can not talk about Terraform a lot and go direct to something like WAF and see how we can use that to set up some restrictions, right? But that can be a story for another day. But we're not looking at security at all levels, especially for compliance. I'll tell you, as you're going to see, you can check out something like there's something called AWS security trials. I mentioned this over the weekend, AWS security trials. And when you open that, okay, why is my network acting up? I don't know. But as it loads up, yes, these are free AWS security trials. You have to know that not everything, when you start getting deeper into security, you have to make trade-offs because it can be quite costly, especially when it gets to scaling. I know there are free resources like you can say IAM and such, but when you start looking at maybe WAF itself, it can be quite crazy, right? You can see you get, for the beauty about AWS security trials, you're able to see what is free, what is paid, and if there's something that is paid, you can be able to see all the products, all the security products that AWS has. You can see all of them, each one is always free, what is the pricing. Like for example, WAF is here. Whatever is always free is that you always get 10 million bot control requests per month from the free tier. And then if anything above that, there's a pricing, you can go and check its pricing. If it's data protection, all these are data protection related products, incident response, compliance products, yes, and all that. And can be able to check some of the things around this. So you can check out this site, we share with you, and it can help you get to understand some of the things that I'm mentioning here. Yes, thank you, Lewis, for that. And then again, the importance of in your repos. Okay, where is it? Where is my repo? Okay, that was crazy. Where is my repos? Okay, I approved that. We just do this. GitHub. So anytime you're doing your documentation, your first blog is your documentation, your README, and you can convert your README into a Medium article and put your voice into it. Make sure you always put everything into perspective. For example, let me show you the documentation for the project that we had. As I finish up, okay, let me do a project one. It helps you. Someone was unmuted, wanted to say something. Hearing. Okay, like this one. You can see I've given you the project structure. You can look at, these are the modules, these are the environments, whatever is there. Then you get, how do you deploy once you get it? You do a validate, you need to apply. And then what are the modules that are there? What is happening in terms of state management? What can you do? How can you contribute and such? So just make sure your README makes a lot of sense so that you can, somebody else can just pick up from your code without looking for you and saying, what were you doing here? So that is the challenge. And just to mention that, where is Beliski on the call? Where is Beliski? Is Beliski here on the call?
I think that was forgotten, isn't it?
Yes, Lewis? You're mentioning something. You're muted. I don't.
That was Nobel.
Nobel is
Nobel from I think from Ghana, Senegal.
okay.
I
Okay,
don't know. I think West African countries.
Okay. I think if he has PayPal, I'll send him like $15 or something just to say thank you. He did an amazing job. You look for him and tell him that I have 15 SD for him.
You have 15 USD for you. Okay. I'll
just to say, yeah, I think because he did an amazing job and he put up when I think he was one of the people I gave feedback to implement some corrections, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so I'll give him that. But my Kenyan people, nothing for you. No impressed. So
okay, another question.
Yeah.
A fantas.
Yeah. Here's the
How
question.
does API ranges for CloudFront work?
IP ranges for CloudFront. Okay. Okay, what I know is CloudFront in terms of the global, what we usually call it AWS global infrastructure, it is an AWS managed service, right? So when you get for example, I've gotten my DNS, you can see it is here, my CloudFront DNS. Then definitely, unless I really want, there's nothing much I can do in terms of the internals. There's a lot that is abstracted from me in terms of how is it doing internally, how is it doing network address translation, how is it doing domain names resolution and such. The best I can do once I get this is I can customize it to my own domain or something. So let's see whether this one is going to give us Macrane's book up, which is a good thing because if it is fronted, so let's see whether it's going to give us something. If it does, then definitely. Okay, I'm getting a 4.4. Let's first of all look at, but I'm not going to troubleshoot now, but let's see whether we can get the DNS, the front-end DNS from the load balancer. Maybe that's an issue. But then again, remember CloudFront might take a bit of time. Block is configured to block access. Wow, that's a good thing, maybe because of security. But let's see what is happening from the load balancer. Are we getting the book application?
Maybe it blocked Kenya.
Yes, you can see maybe blocked Kenya, and I'm going to do a look at it. Okay, but you can see I'm seeing an access denied, meaning that there's a security. There's a security that has been set up, and if I go to I can go to CloudFront. You can see. Let's see what it did. HTTP only. CloudFront distribution. Domain name front end. Origin. Okay, I think maybe look at also the security group for the load balancer. But I'll look at it. But let's see whether we can get a trail, right? But I think trails would look a lot. I know I'm causing some access denied. I can cause enough, right? Okay, just cause enough of it. And let's see if I do Terraform output, then I'm going to get everything. Okay, I wanted to get the S3 bucket. I don't know whether it was in the outputs, but if it was not there, I would still go and check. Okay, I'm seeing the two. Okay, I did put two, but I can get the S3. But let me see Terraform state. Should I do list? Yeah, state list. So let's see what is on our list of resources. There's a bucket. Sure, there's a bucket. Yeah, but I think this one can be the one that I want, right? CloudForce, that is this one. Really Terraform output, and we put the name of the resource. Not sure. But it's going to give us. Okay, I didn't put it in the Terraform outputs, but it's okay. But I can get the name. I can check on my state file. I don't want to look at, but I can look at it. Let's look at whatever is here. Resources. But there's a better way of looking at it. I know. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, but I'll get to know. But it's okay. So the only other thing would be to look at it, but I'm not sure even on the AWS management. I can open as I finish up. Yeah, we already know the previous, the important security controls for not, you already know it. It's like a song that is been played to you. Have MFA, have something. I want to see whether I can log into my AWS management console. If I knew the name of the bucket, I could have done a CLI, right? Okay. Just confirm that will be correct. Usually I have chills when I have to open and I then have to put the security code. Then I realize, oh, it's a wrong password or something. But let me get my Team Shakes account. I usually have several accounts. Wow, told you, but let me just change the password. I usually don't care about passwords because I have MFA. So usually I'm a bad guy of putting the same password on almost all accounts, but it seems okay. Do I have to, was it Tuei? Was it, okay, let me just confirm. Maybe I'm putting the wrong MFA. Oh yeah, I've known the reason. I was putting the wrong MFA. Papa, I'm sorry guys. Let me just finish up. I've gotten it. It was the wrong MFA. I have several MFAs. Always confuses me. 01646. Finally, we are in. So let's go to S3 and look at whether we're having a trail, whether a trail is being, I'm being logged that I'm trying to access that CloudFront distribution in that load balancer, and I'm not allowed to. Just looking at what is there, then we can close the session. But there's more we can do. You can always check that out. I mean, I don't know whether my resources are being created in US West too. Not sure. But since S3 is kind of global, I hope I find all. So which one was created today? I think this one. Yeah, CloudForce. So there are some trails. Awesome. There are some trails that went through. So if I go, if they are there, then I don't have to open my I don't have to open my S3 bucket. Let's see whether we can see that I was logged as an intruder to that resource. Then I think we can close it out. So glad to see the resources. Don't forget to do a Terraform destroy once done. If you're going to test out these things. So let's see whether don't worry, it's because of the 1,000 tabs, not by network. I'll try my best to reduce the tabs or move to another browser that is. I've tried to move to another browser, but Chrome is like that nagging. thing that cannot get over from. So let's go to trails. I think I can see Force Trail, CloudForce. So let's see whether it has logged anything. So it is logging and it is logging too. So it is logging to that. Are we getting any data events? Data collection is not configured insights, events, API activity created by Terraform. This is the environment. Okay. I'm not seeing anything. So this one is always for me. It helps me a lot. Always make sure you have management events logged, not all events. Always have managed. So this one is set up for myself, and just so that in case my account is hacked, I can be able to come and know what happened in the management events. So I don't know why I'm not seeing much in terms of data events. Maybe there's not a lot that has happened, or maybe my intrusion has not yet arrived to CloudTrail, but it is still being sorted on S3 side. It takes a bit of time before it comes to being sorted, but I can show you some of the things that happened. For example, I think you've seen I've messed up my password a couple of times, right? So I should be able to see that in my management events. Or my MFA. I don't know what was happening. So that is the beauty about security when you look at that. And yeah, cloud security plays a huge part when you look at this aspect. And people say about root user and store away your password, but please make sure you enable CloudTrail. Your future self will thank you for it. So let's see here, then I close it out. Event history. So you can see everything that I did earlier on when I was doing something. Okay, I was deleting. Okay, some things are happening here. So you can see everything that was happening, and I can do anything from don't want to do. Okay. That one was crazy. But everything happens from here. So you can see CloudFront was happening, and I think this one was when I was doing a destroy. Maybe earlier was this recorded or something, but this is happening. So these are the things that you can be able to come and analyze. You can query, you can move it to a data lake. You can just check a number of different things. You can decide to focus on a particular username. Think which username was I using? Just do a quick check. Okay, was this one? Was it this one? That one is not the one. Yeah, choose this one. We just do this. Okay, I was doing a clear. So I was just, you can also check always. I don't know how you do it. Let's just get call identity. Just to see which users have been using here. Because I have several IAM users. So let's see. Oh, the user Tuei is the one that I've been using. Okay, totally fine. So that is why I'm seeing Tuei here, and all these different kind of things. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We are seeing that. I wish I could do much more and show you it loading, but it's okay. I'm going to see how I'm going to sort that out. But since I'm sure that I'm going to go to sleep after this, definitely, I love my few credits and dollars that I have in my account. So since I'm doing it, but don't do auto approve if you are dealing with production environments. Just make sure you analyze whatever you're about to destroy, just to see that. Yes, and with that, I'll take it back to Lewis as we close this out and sort these things out as I delete all these different things. And then again, also, if you're doing a remote backend, make sure you delete your resources first. Don't delete the backend, the remote backend for your what? For your state file and your log file before deleting the resources. Don't want to find yourself in a limbo. Okay, I think that is it. Back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Kevin. I think I've learned a lot from the session, and I think from what Christine has said, she's floating around. She doesn't know what's going on. But when you join the community, we have a lot of videos. I've shared the YouTube video link. So one of the things I think we have learned, your log files, your state files, your secret keys. So this is something you have to keep on your own. It's like you keep under your bed when you use it. So thanks so much, Kevin. So if you have any questions, you can just shoot it out very fast as we close it. Any questions? Any inquiries? Nothing.
Lewis, I think the silence says that the community needs to come and take people through Terraform first before securing anything.
Yeah, very true.
So,
Very true.
but thank you so much, guys, for all the questions. I saw a lot in terms of the architecture. So definitely it takes a bit of practice. But then again, remember, I always say this, Lewis, and I think you can agree with me. There are always two architectures. The architecture that you show a client, which doesn't have all the decorations and everything that a developer needs, that has just enough for them to know what it will cost them to run that architecture and anything that it will support, how it will support the business requirements. Then you have that architecture for the developer like Lewis and the engineer like Lewis, who needs to know the intricacies of the CIDR blocks and the security groups and everything, and which region you're going to deploy from. Always have those two. And then always make your pricing calculator your friend. You don't want someone to call you a scammer simply because you cannot explain how the costs go down. Be comfortable to understanding security and the trade-offs around them. Yeah. Back.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin. Just connect with Kevin on LinkedIn and connect with the community on LinkedIn. If you have any question, inquiries, or anything, just reach out. Especially if you are a beginner. If you are an expert, we will charge you. Like if you are a beginner, just reach out and and you'll be helped out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, everybody, for staying with us for like almost 3 hours. So I think I'm closing out. If there's anything as we close, we appreciate. Bye.
Bye bye, team. See you on the next one.